Here we're going to look at example 2, and we have our 3 equations here, and we're going to use this to actually, with a matrix, to go ahead and solve for each of my unknown equations, okay? So your quiz is coming up this week. I just want to make sure you are well armed for this. So what I do is I look at each of the coefficients on my numbers, and my rows are lined up according to X, Y, and Z, and more if you have more variables. And then that last row is what we consider the solution, because that bar represents my equal sign. So in this case, the first one that I have is 2. I don't have a Y anywhere in here, so I'm going to have to put a 0 placeholder for Y, and then for Z. So 4 is going to go there, and the whole thing equals 12, and you get 12. So take a look at the equations and the augmented matrix, and if you have any difficulty getting from this to this, I want you to go ahead and shoot me an email or a text through GroupMe. Now, one of the things that I can do is I can switch any of the rows that I want, okay? So all of these are movable one after another. And so I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of that. In this particular case, it's not going to help me. However, I just wanted to kind of demo to you that you can do moves if you need to. So let's say I want that 1 to be my top one. So 1, -3, 4, and 21. And then let's say the next row I want is my 4. So 4, -4, 4, and -24. And then the last row is going to be 2, 0, 4, and 12. Okay. Ultimately, we want this one, and this one to be 0. I know that the temptation is to throw that one with a second 0 down in the bottom, but you're going to ultimately end up losing that 0, so just be aware of that. Okay, so now I have to figure out, how do I get this first 4 to be a 0? So I have to do what's called a row operation. And I can choose any one of my rows. And I'll just take a look at row 2 and row 3 on this one. So I'm going to want to replace row 2. Row 2 is good as is. So I'm just going to say row 2, it's 4, -4, 4, -24. And I'm going to add to that -2, row 3. And the reason why I'm doing that is because if I multiply this one by 2, it'll give me 4, but if I multiply it by -2, it'll give me -4. So when they add together, I'll end up getting a 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can get those running. So I'm just going to put just those parts on the side. So you'll notice I have some matrices on the side here of just the 2 rows in question. So I'll do row 2, which is 4, -4, 4, and -24, and then -2, row 3. So that would be -4, 0, -8, and -24. Okay, is that -24? Yep. Okay, so now when I bring that down, 4 and -4 is 0, -4, -4, -48. Okay, -48. So that's going to be my new row 2. So that's going to go into my new matrix. So my first row is 1, -3, 4, 21. My row 2 is 0, -4, -4, and -48. And my last row is 2, 0, 4, and 12. All right, so now I want to get this first one as a 0. So to do that one, I'm going to take I'm going to replace row 3, and I'm going to use row 1 to do my math, because if I use row 2, no matter what I multiply by 0, excuse me, I still get a 0. So I'm going to do negative 2 R1 plus R3. And that's going to replace R3. So let's look at this. So I have negative 2 R1 and R3. So R1 would be negative 2, 6, negative 8, and then negative 42. And then R3 is 2, 0, 4, 12. And when I add them, I get 0, 6, negative 4, and negative 30. Okay, so now my new matrix, let me stick this in blue because it's going to be a full matrix. My row 3 is going to be 0, 6, negative 4, negative 30. My row 2 is 0, negative 4, negative 4, negative 48. And my row 1 is 1, negative 3, 4, and 21. Okay, last piece. I know that seems like it's taking forever. I need this one to be a 0. And so when I look at what's common, I do want to make sure I do my row operation with the second row, because both of them start with 0 and I need to keep those zeros. So my new row 3 is going to be, let's see here, row 2, the least common multiple between negative 4 and 6 is going to be 12, or 4 and 6 would be 12. So I'm going to take row 2 and multiply that by 3. And I'm going to take row 3 and multiply it by 2. So let's see what that is going to look like. So 3R2, 2R3. That'd be 0, 0, which is good. Negative 12, negative 12. And then I need to get, let's see here. 3 times negative 48 is going to be negative 144. Okay, and then my second one, it's going to be times 2. So 6 times 2 is 12. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And negative 30 times 2 is negative 60. And then I'm going to add these together. So I have 0, 0, negative 20, and then negative 204. Right, so I have 60 plus 144. All right, so now this is my row 3. I should have my completed matrix now, and I am suspicious that I'm not going to get a whole number here. So my last row is 0, 0, negative 20, and then negative 204. My top row is 1, negative 3, 4, 21. And my middle row is 0, negative 4, negative 4, negative 48. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the math looking at this first grouping. So negative 20 z is equal to negative 204. So if I do divide both sides by negative 20, okay, I end up with z is, that's going to go in 10 times plus 4 over 20, which is 1/5. So we can do it two ways. We can do it as a decimal, 204 divided by 20. That's going to give me 10.2. Or I could do, and this probably is not the nicest option, but it could also be 51 over 5. Okay, so that's my z value. I'm going to go ahead and probably keep it as a decimal just so that I can get my other values. So there's my z. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my y equation down. So negative 4y minus 4z is equal to negative 48. So negative 4y minus 4 times 10.2 is equal to negative 48. So 10.2 times 4 gives me 40.8. So I'm going to add 40.8 to both sides. So negative 4y minus 40.8, that gives me 7.2. I divide both sides, negative 7.2, by negative 4. Excuse me, that should be a 4. And my y is equal to excuse me, 7.2 divided by 4 gives me 1.8. Or that would be not quite 2, that would be 9 over 5. Okay, so either one would work on this. And then my x value would come from the matrix with that first one. So x minus 3y plus 4z equals 21. So x minus, so 1.8 times 3 is going to be 5.4. And 4 times 10.2 is going to be 40.8. So 40.8 minus 5.4 is going to give me 35.4. Okay, and then x is going to equal 21 minus 35.4. So I should get negative 14.4. Or I could call that negative 72 over 5. Either one of those will work. Probably I would keep it to decimals. So these are not too bad. You just got to be careful with all of your steps to make sure you didn't make a mistake. That's the tricky part about these. Okay? In the next video, we'll go over the other example.